Welcome, everyone. This is the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley. Every week we get together and bring cool ideas to you from people all over the planet who connect with us via video conference. And it is awfully good fun to be able to share the stories of innovative service. As you probably know, there are areas of focus in Rotary, and our club, like every Rotary club, observes those. But we have three special areas of focus as well: innovation, entrepreneurship, and education. And so when we begin to look at how we can do what we do, we begin to think, okay, well, what is it that we as an eClub can do that might be all the more effective given the systems we use and the tools that are part of kind of our arsenal. And without a doubt, online video is a strong piece of how our club works. You look at our club and you look at our meetings and you see that we have tons of video, and that's something that a lot of us love, as you can tell easily from the enthusiasm from our speaker. I'll also introduce real quick, another of our charter members, John Lozano. Wave at the camera, John. Good man. All right, who is with us for this one, and he and I will be peppering Chris with questions as part of the Q&A after the presentation. Right. And so, who is this guy that is our speaker? Who is this Canadian? His name is Chris Cochrane. Chris has been a Rotarian for a good amount of time, and he and I were both in another eClub, and a group of 7 of us moved over to this one to help get it going, to help start it. And when we launched in January of last year, along with cool people we knew and know, like John. And so Chris has a rather incredible background in video production. He was hired by Ted Turner when he started CNN in 1980, if I remember that correctly. He's done all kinds of work with the BBC and with Canadian broadcasting, and has done great work to help people get stories out in order to raise support and save money. All right, and so he's going to tell us a little bit about how do you fundraise using video. So with that, I will hand it over to Chris. Chris, it is 6 after the hour. I'm going to cut you off in 15 minutes, but if you can get your presentation in within that, that's all good. Chris, wonderful to have you.
Thank you, Rush, and appreciate the introduction. By the way, for you, those of you out there, the group of 7, don't mix it up with the group of 7 painters. That's not them. We're the group of 7 video people, okay? And we're going to make sure that you know that video is the way to raise money. Now, some of you might say, why do I want to use video? I'm going to get into a few details in the slideshow and so on. So let me just see if I can call this thing up. Please bear with me while I do that, because the system says I can do that. I'm going to see if I can actually share it. You'll see a little thing, and then I'm going to go up to, you guys can see that. I hope, yeah, nice picture of Rushton there.
Looking good.
You're looking good, as always, yeah. And, okay, I got to go to view here. No, I got to go to, oh, I got to open my slideshow. That helps. Okay, you can see that we're, really practiced in this club. Believe me, it's off the cuff. Believe me. Isn't that what Donald Trump says? Believe me. We're going to make America great again. We're going to make your video raising great. Okay?
Good man.
And here we go. Now I'm going to up this to a slideshow, and hopefully everyone can see that. That's an introductory page. That's myself. And at the end somewhere, maybe we'll put a link in here, and I'll leave my email address for those of you that actually want it. Now, what are we going to talk about today? What we're talking about, and going back, using video to raise money. Okay. And the 3 things I really want to talk about is why, some tools so you can make a great video, and proven ways to raise money. Now, the first is, why use video? I've reduced it to 1 sentence, but there's a lot more reasons than that. I consider it as show and tell. The more you show, the more money you'll raise. Now, think about this for a minute. In today's world, the internet and everything, look at what's online. You see 5-second, 10-second, 15-second videos that go viral. That means they're seen by thousands and thousands of people. And the other reason to use video is, think of this. How many of you have been in a Terra club, a club that actually meets physically rather than simply online, or any club, any organization whatsoever, and you're always tapping the same people? Maybe you're in a huge town like Los Angeles or New York. Maybe you're in a small town like I live in rural Canada. The snow melted last week, so we're kind of getting used to the sunshine up here. And where I am, everybody seems to go to the same people for money. It's either the rich guy or the local foundation or the 8 or 10 businesses in town. Always seems to be the same people that get tapped. How many of you are in a club where suddenly you're forced to sell something? It might be tickets to a raffle or something, and you get this big wad of stuff thrown at you saying, go sell it because we got to raise money. All those are legitimate ways. There's a local golf tournament, there's everything else, all the wonderful ways. I say, why not use video? It's a lot simpler to put together. It gives you the opportunity not to just raise from your local market, but from around the world. Put it this way, would you mind if some dude in China actually gave you money? I think you'd be pretty happy if that happened. It's happened to us, happened in the videos we did. We actually had some people in China actually end up giving us money. And I'm going to teach you a way where they can give money just by watching the video without having to go into their wallet. Wouldn't that be a nice refresher? You can give money without having to open your wallet. Just watch a video and you've helped someone. And that's really why we want to use video. Now, some tips about video. What I've found over the years, having done videos that are anywhere from 5-6 minutes long down to under 30 seconds. The ones that seem to work the best, short, 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 short. Keep your message short, to the point. Any content, it doesn't really matter what's in it, believe it or not, as long as it's visually interesting. How many of you on Facebook and other places have seen these nutty videos made by some, 8-year-old, and all of a sudden he's got 2 million views on it? Well, it's because it's visually interesting. If you can use humor, use it, but that's a specialty thing that you can try and do. And if you're in a club, I say, how many of you have kids or grandkids? Okay? Or know a kid, or know somebody on the street, friend of a neighbor, whoever, that's into video. Tap those people. They're great resources. And a lot of them, if you ask properly, would just love to help you out. But it doesn't have to be hard. I have years in the video business, and for me, the thing for me is I want to dumb it down so that anybody, first time, can make a great video. And here's how you can do it. What you want to use is something you have every day. How many of you have one of these? It's called a smartphone. Okay? Takes fantastic video. Tablets, consumer camcorders, anything that records video. Use your smartphone. This is a fantastic way to do it. Now you say, well, what exactly do I do? I'm not a creative director. I can't come up with all kinds of great ideas. If you're having an event, if you're having something going on in your organization, simply tape it and use an editing system that comes with the phone or with the tablet to shorten it down as short as you can possibly get it. That's it. That's all you need to do to create something that can go online. And like anything else, the more you do it, the more you'll pick up the idea and the more it'll be better. Now, how do you make money with it? Okay, that's the point of our talk here. I know I'm going rather fast because I want to leave a lot of time for the myriad of questions that are going to be peppered at me at the end of this presentation. Well, the first method is the obvious one. It's by a sponsor. You get a business or individual, say, listen, I'll give you some money as long as you put my name on it, or because I want, it's got a topic of interest. And there's many different ways to sponsor. It can be a preset amount. It can be what we call per view. Every time the video is watched, a certain amount of money is given, and that's great. That's sort of the standard way of doing things. It's like having somebody sponsor an event or sponsor a golf tournament. They give money to be there. And I think most people out there are familiar with that. The other one, and these are the ones that I really want to stress, are the internet. How many of you heard of things like Kickstarter, which are ways of raising money on the internet itself? If you go to Kickstarter.com and related, or simply Google Kickstarter, you'll find the site. It will tell you how to set up a campaign to raise money. You can do it raising money for plays on the video. There's any number of ways of doing it. The most important one, and the one that I use the most, is what I call monetize. And that's everyone. Have you heard of a little company called Google? Yeah, I think everybody's heard of that company. How would you like them to give you money every time you play your video? Well, they can do just that. If you upload your video to one of their platforms, like YouTube, everyone I think is familiar with YouTube, okay, and you take a little button called monetize, every time that video is played, Google keeps track of it. every time the video is played, they will place an ad either at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of it. You have the choice. You can tell beginning, middle, or end. I usually choose at the beginning because then people see the ad. It's usually a 5-second ad, then it goes to your little video. Every time that video is played, Google will give you money. Now, how much do they give you? They're starting out standard right now. It doesn't sound like much, but it can add up, okay? Is a whopping, get this, get ready for it. Drum roll, please. $1 for every 1,000 views. We're going to get rich. Whoa. Say, well, wait a minute. How can that add that up? I take a look at some videos I did for ours, and we got approximately 3,500,000 views total. That works out to about $3,500. Okay, not bad just because some people watched it. So if you monetize your video, it means anytime it's watched by anybody, anywhere, it's being added to the total, and literally money is being given to your organization. Individuals, businesses use this to raise money. We'll use it for fundraising. It's a great way. What I like to do in a video is have all three of the above methods. Use monetization for extra money, use the internet Kickstarter if you can, and get a sponsor where possible. That's the ultimate way of actually doing it. And, you know, use the tools, use the tablet, your consumer camcorder to actually do this, record anything, use the proven methods, and above all, keep your video short and simple. Use the simple tools, combine all the methods of fundraising. So that may seem like Greek to most of you guys because guess what? That's the end of the formal part of the presentation. I know there's 1,000 questions. I've left most of you hanging going, huh? So if I can, be glad to take any questions you may have.
Good man. All right.
Welcome, Shags. Welcome to the group.
Membership share Shag Chagrin, ladies and gentlemen, who also is part of the group that moved to join this club to launch it in January.
Part of the group of 7.
The group of 7. Right.
Not to be confused with the painters.
Correctly. Or any other group of 7 industrialized countries or whatever. Yeah. Now, when we think about telling stories, clearly what matters is that the story is compelling. You talk about it being visually interesting.
Being visually compelling.
Right. So people have to be in that mode of thinking, okay, how do we make sure that we get what's interesting about what we're doing on the camera? So it's one thing to be carrying around a camera. It's another thing to be thinking about what is it that I need to take footage of?
Well, I mean, that's very subjective. That's where you get into a lot of different things. But take an average event. Say you've got the spaghetti fundraiser, okay? And you want to raise money for using that particular venue or topic. Well, you can go around and you can take all kinds of neat stuff. Think about what would you want to see, especially something that might be a little funny. Why not close-ups of the spaghetti? Why not close-ups of people eating the spaghetti? Why not close-ups of and be sure you get the sign of the guy's name who provided the spaghetti and provided the sauce and the cook and all that. But get what I call the simple things and shoot very close. If you think by close, I mean your camera lens is within 3 or 4 inches, especially if it's a smartphone. Don't hold it way back here. Hold it right up to the guy's nostrils and take your shots. And you'll be amazed at what you'll get because it'll become visually compelling by doing that, by shooting close. And if you make it short, people will watch it. The other advantage to short is it's over before they realize it. So they've watched it, and even if it made no sense at all to them, you've still made money, especially if you've monetized it.
Cool. Now we've got a couple of people with us, so we're gonna open it up to any questions that they may have. As soon as they unmute, I will pass it their way. But when we think about the idea of using this as a part of fundraisers, one of the things that comes to mind for me is you've got all of these people in your club, whichever club you may belong to. And you really want them to be telling the things that they're passionate about. You want to use video as a way of kind of bringing your group to that point where they're telling what's really interesting about them, because I think that's compelling. No?
True, very true. I mean, I've known people that have used their vacation slides and put them into a short 30-second video and actually raised money with that. So something that you're passionate about is great, but for the average one out there, well, what do I show? Show something that's visually compelling that maybe tells a story that you want to tell. Mm-hmm. And that's different for every organization.
Very cool. So, John Lozano.
Yep. Yeah, so great presentation, Chris. I appreciate it. I guess
that actually makes sense. Wow.
No, it really is, because I work at a school is one place we always look for raising money, but we have parents who do that. But I also work with some other nonprofits that we're trying to raise money for kids who are going away to either like a camp or a leadership camp or a leadership experience. I could get video of kids doing leadership activities or them, participating in activities. I guess the question is if I went to a business and say, I want you to sponsor my video, right, what incentive does a business have to sponsor like my video opposed to doing their own thing?
Well, number one, you're doing it. They don't have to do it. All they need to do is provide you with permission and probably a logo or their name or to use. Number two, you're going to expose to an audience they're probably not reaching right now. And number three, if you set it up on what I call a per view basis, they're willing to give. They say, well, let's say they're willing to give. Let's pick a small number, $500. Okay, it's a small basis. Yeah, I'll give you $500, and if you can get me, 1,000 views, I'll give you $500. That's 50 cents a view, or any number, any combination of that you want to get that. The beauty of that is, number one, they only pay if it's seen. Number two, they have absolutely zero to lose because it's only pay if it's seen. And number three, it's in effect free advertising. Not to mention the fact that they're getting in the good books of some people in their local community. Mm-hmm. That may say, hey, that's a really good company, or really say it's the local whatever, it's a local store. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm going to shop there because they help my video.
Great.
There's all kinds of benefits to them, and the beauty of it is, if it's funny enough, they may want to use it for their own promotional purposes, which is kind of nice. If you can get them, if it's online, all they have to do is embed it somewhere. Fantastic. Helps with your views.
Great.
The key you may ask is, well, how do I get? I'm going to get 1,000 views or 50 views or 1,000,000 views, whatever it is. The key is to share it online as much as possible. Share it in every possible venue: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, websites, anywhere you can think of. Share it. And that's why if it's short and it's to the point, it's got a little bit of humor, it'll take off. Because what happens is how many times have you seen a goofy video on Facebook? And you look down, and the guy's got, oh crap, he's got 4.5 million views. And, it's about some guy taking a header on ice or something, right? Boom. Ha ha ha. Well, use the same principle. Only this way, every time people watch it, it's adding to the Google monetization. If you have it sponsored, it's helping for those views. And any other way, if you've got a Kickstarter campaign, may help for that as well. And for Kickstarter campaigns and those type, please go to the various sites, and they'll detail exactly how to do what it is you want to do, how to set one up.
So when you look at the idea of a group like a Rotary Club,
right,
using a video that has been monetized by views, I think another selling point, right, for the sponsor is that, so look, this group of people that are connected in the community this way have skin in the game. They're going to be interested in talking about the video and getting people out there. So they know they've got this troop of people who are actively involved in carrying a message. And if that's, if they understand that it's not just the video, but it's the active involvement of a group of people who are trying to make something happen as a part of it.
Very good point.
That's serious win on that front.
I couldn't agree more.
Now, another question for you. When we think about helping the sponsor know how many views they've had, you look at YouTube, and unless it's been disabled, you see the view count right there. I'm guessing that a lot of sponsors, would say, hey, you're talking about, like this video on Vimeo or something, which is a great site, for a lot of reasons, but maybe it doesn't by default show the view count. And they say, but how do we know? So how do you help the sponsor know how many views you've had?
Well, with YouTube, Vimeo, and any of these online sites, they have something called analytics. And it comes free with the site, and whoever posts it will be able to access those analytics. What I do is I take a screenshot of them and send them on a consistent basis to a sponsor. And if a sponsor would like to be able to look for themselves, not have me send them anything, I'll give them a password, and they can simply go into it and look for themselves and see. It will tell them everything: number of views, where they're coming from, whether it's male or female, the age group that it's coming from, say the geographic area, almost anything they want to know. Now, if it's a small local situation, maybe he's only interested in, views that come from within 10 miles of his store. That's great. You can actually get down with the analytics and get that finite with it if you wish. But what's the harm if some guy on the other side of the country or in another country somewhere actually sees your video and says, oh, okay, he just helped you raise money by the very fact that he watched it. And depending on what it is, you might get somebody who says, I like this. So they go to your Kickstarter and kick some money in.
Yeah, that's nice to have the kind of the
Well, it does happen.
complementing.
There are links that, Rush, and I believe you're going to put below this particular presentation to a few to ours and a couple of others that have been successful. The one I want everyone to take a good look at is the one called McGill Dances. Now, my friend Francois Tessier, a member of our club in Montreal, will be quite familiar with this, but that was released several years ago, I think 4, 5, 6 years ago. And it's fairly long. Now, it was a sponsored video, but it was sponsored by a drug company who said, if you can reach I think it was 400,000 or 500,000 views in a 30-day period, we'll give you $1 million. Well, they did that within 30 days. Okay, and they raised $1 million for what you see in that particular video. It happens to be a cancer treatment center. Okay, visually compelling because it was actually choreographed. I mean, you have scientists holding test tubes dancing and doctors in leather coats dancing through the halls and stuff like this. It can be kind of amusing, but it does work.
That's pretty cool that they put the time frame on it as well, because there's a certain sense of, it's going to be on YouTube forever, so
Well, that's the nice thing.
Within 30 days, that's huge.
And it's still up there, and it's still gaining views, which is extra advertising for them. And how do they make more money? Not from the drug company, because they've given their commitment, but through monetization. Every time they get another 1,000 views, boom, another buck, And you say, well, does that add up? It sure does after a while. If you're the guy Psy, does everyone know who Psy is? PSY?
Oh, yeah.
He's the first dude to hit 1 billion views on YouTube. So
and we should note he was also the entertainment at part of the Rotary International Convention, so.
Yeah, this year, that's correct. So now can you imagine his 1,000 for a buck. I hope whoever put it together monetized it at the beginning.
Did he come up with Rotary style instead of Gangnam style?
President-elect Mitty will tell us. He was he and Yvonne and Stephen were all there, so.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, John, I'm actually answering your question and sort of taking some of the fog out, because this is a very hard area to explain to people who are not familiar totally with video. I'm trying to keep it simple and just go over the basics. Like I said, John, if you have questions or you need assistance, let me know. Glad to help you.
No, it's great. I think what I like is what most people, maybe this is what you run into a lot, is running. This is very different manner of raising money. So it's really for people who are traditionally used to just the golf tournament. We're going to have a dinner gala. We're going to even for students, we're going to have the read-a-thon. They're going to read so many pages and do. I mean, this is a different avenue in which to raise money. So I think that's why it's.
Well, the other way to think of this. Facebook now allows you through any device like a smartphone or a tablet to live stream a video, take a video live as it's going. Imagine if you took a tablet, just mounted it high so everyone can see the spaghetti dinner or the final hole of the golf tournament, and just did that, and you had someone sponsor saying, yeah, I'll sponsor the live event, and all you do is put their name on there so that it's seen by whoever's watching on Facebook. What Facebook does is it sends out notifications to everybody who's a friend of the particular page it's on. So if your organization happens to have a lot of friends on Facebook, it's a great way to get views. And it's another way of adding value for a sponsor in that case. It's another way of upping your views, getting awareness out there, and ultimately, if it's all tied to dollars, another way of raising cash.
Cool. Another thought I think I'd toss in on as a video enthusiast anyway, is that sometimes when people think about getting video for a purpose like this is actually when they first try video. And what you really should do, especially like in something like a Rotary Club, is you should be videoing all kinds of stuff to see what you end up with.
Right.
You know, they're just electrons, right? And so, you know, you get your camera, you know, you do a little of this action, and you know, you're getting not just the stories of the stuff you want to share and maybe make money off of, but you're getting the stories of your club. You're getting the history of your club. You know, go to the older folks in your club and say, you know, hey, you know, you've been in this club for 40 years. Talk to us. What are the really amazing stories? You know, okay, go. And you know, that way you're preserving the history of your group as well, because there are all of these people who've got all of these wonderful kind of stories and you know, kind of, you know, help you understand your community in ways that you maybe wouldn't have otherwise. And if we don't capture those stories, you know, we don't stick around forever. And so I think it's important that you get that kind of practice, both to help your own club and to know and to get a much better sense of, well, how do I use this thing so that, you know, we end up with something that will be, like Chris says, visually compelling.
That's a great idea. Visual history.
Another way is, if you're a Terra Club, why not simply use this device to tape every speaker that comes in? Now, you don't want to put the entire thing on the internet. It's way too long and probably be way too boring for the average individual. What you want to do is say, you make up a quick video that says, hey, our club has people like, and you do a quick 2 or 3 second clip of 4 or 5, 6 people. People like Joe Blow, Mary Blow, you know, Frank Nowhere, you know, Donald Dump, and other people. These are people who speak at our club. And there's your 15-second video. That raises curiosity. Yeah. Number one, gives you advertising, and if you put it on the net the way I say to put it, you'll eventually be paid every time it's shown.
And so, you know, you think about having both up, right? You know, you got kind of a highlight reel of some speakers that make you go,
highlight reel,
really people, right? But if you, let's say you got a member in the hospital, right? You know, I mean, it's just not hard to create a video for the program so that person can feel like they're still connected to what's going on in the club.
Yeah, or using Facebook Live. Somebody just did this, and the guys in the hospital check on the Facebook, and he's watching it along with you guys.
Exactly. Cool. So, any last comments from our gallery, from Shags or John? Any kind of last items to throw in?
Just a comment from the grandson of a guy who grew up with the Warner Boys in Youngstown, Ohio, before they went west to make movies. A quote from Harry, the chairman of the studio, the Four Boys. Talking pictures? Who the heck wants to hear actors talk?
Well, in the early days, they used to call it radio pictures, which is actually the worst way of thinking about it, because it's a visual medium, not a medium for sound.
So it's amazing how far we've come. I was an amateur photographer and filmmaker as a kid, and then when I got some money at my bar mitzvah and I asked for a Bolex Super Macro Zoom 500, my father
said, "What? No way."
$300? No way. For a movie camera? No way. And so I went still, but just amazed with what.
And technology has made it so simple now for every man. I mean, this is a television studio in your pocket.
So I've seen.
If 30 years ago, if I had said to somebody in the business, "Hey, we won't need trucks, we don't need satellites, we don't need this, we'll soon be able to carry around everything you need in your pocket," they would have thought it was nuts.
Well, it's amazing, because this has everything that a Radio Shack ad had in 1989 built in.
Yeah.
Full page ad. So here's my question. I have a cute little dog, and I don't know if you've seen the stuff out there on YouTube, but there's Caruso, a very charismatic little dachshund, and there's a video of Caruso making bruschetta with his Italian accent, and it's a hysterical stuff that they do. I don't know how to monetize that, but I would love to monetize video clips of my dog.
Well, okay. We can speak privately about the formal way to do it, but basically you need to set up a YouTube account, which I would suggest YouTube is the best way, under your name. Okay. Make sure it's in good standing with them. And if you look through the buttons, one says, you put up a video, one says monetize. And when you click it, it shows a little $ beside it. That's it. What gives them permission from you to put an ad either before it, after it, or on it. I don't like them in the middle of it because it just screws up the presentation. Okay, so I click, you can do before or after, I don't care which. I prefer before because then people are going to watch the little ad before they get to the video.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you need to do, just click that button in your account settings.
Very cool. Well, we've run our time, and so what I want to do is I want to wind everything down, and then Chris, I'm going to hand it over to you for the last thought in a minute, like we always do. But to all of our members and guests, thank you very much for joining us. It's very much our thinking that if you do Rotary once a week, then you're getting that kind of positive energy to kind of help you see the world in the way that you need to. So we want you to go down a little bit farther and to let us know you were here. There's a little I attended survey down there. Make sure to fill that out. Because that'll do a couple of things. It'll help us kind of know how many people are coming in, which we'd like to know. But also, it'll generate an email. Awesome. Shags. It'll also generate an email that will go to you, which you can turn around to your club secretary for making up in this meeting if you have had such a thing happen. Cool. And then a little farther down is the discussion section, discuss, D-I-S-Q-U-S. We want you to leave a comment. Let us know how we can make better what we do. Anything in the meeting, anything in the program where you're like, hey, there's this and this. You can respond to other people's comments. Click reply. He's like, well, I don't have an account. Well, it takes all about 10 seconds to put one together, but if you don't want to put that 10 seconds together, you can always use your Facebook account or a Twitter account or one of these other ones to make it happen. So we hope you enjoy coming back, that you will let people know that they need to be, like joining in and seeing what we're doing as well, because there's just a lot of wonderfully cool things out there, and our mission is to tell those stories every single week. So, Chris, finish off. A little bit of wisdom for the folks as they finish up the meeting.
Video equals money.
I like how the applause begins and you just see Shags. I'd say it's a thing of beauty, but
We're
So
not recording her now.
I should have been a Foley operator.
Yeah.
Members, guests, thank you for being a part of it, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care.